How's it going, guys? Cameron here with Canadian Gamer coming at you with another video. Today we are shooting in 4:3 aspect ratio. Just having a little bit of fun. It's just a hobby channel here. So, yeah, speaking of which, regarding the channel, milestones. Past 400,000 views today on the channel. So, yeah, not too bad. I got a couple of videos out there that are like evergreen content, or like the gift that keeps on giving. One of them is a video I put out several months ago. It was regarding the Mr. FPGA device. Even to this day, I get comments hourly from that video. It's now crept up to almost 8,000 views. So pretty crazy stuff. Myself, lately, I've been really busy with other stuff outside of gaming and YouTube. I haven't had much time to really post a lot of content. I did post a Master System Challenge video on Master System Monday. But other than that, I've been pretty busy, to be honest with you. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today on the channel. The first thing I wanted to talk about with regards to, it's a growing trend within this sort of niche hobby that we have here, but chasing high scores and speed running has become, a very competitive thing for certain individuals in the gaming community. Now, I've dabbled a little bit with regards to speed running. It was never really meant to be anything long term. I really just wanted to speed run the game Outrun. And then I dabbled with some other games as well, but I haven't really gone back to it recently. But one thing I want to sort of talk about or rant a little bit about is there's a lot of gamers out there that emulate these retro games on their computer, as an example, and they chase high scores via emulation. Now, let me get this clear right now. If you're one of those out there that are speed running or chasing high scores using emulation, or you're remapping your buttons on your controller for a competitive advantage, you will never, ever be taken seriously in the speed running community, okay? There's a reason why the Billy Mitchell situation went down the way that it did. And if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. I'm pretty sure he got busted playing Donkey Kong via emulation, okay? So obviously, what he was doing was immediately cast judgment upon, okay? It's not legit. He wasn't playing it on a real Donkey Kong arcade cabinet, okay? So immediately, once this was discovered, his high scores were taken away from him. Right? Do you see where I'm going with this? If you're playing ROMs via emulation on a computer, as an example, and you're not using OG hardware, and you can't show on video, using a video camera, that you've put the cart into the console and it's legit, then how are we to know that you're not playing like a fucking hack ROM? Again, you're remapping your buttons for competitive advantages. Things that you couldn't do with OG hardware. Could you remap your buttons on an NES or a Sega Master System or a Sega Genesis or a Super NES? No, you couldn't. No, you could not. So, at least with me, I'm going to try going forward because I've got my camera set up on a tripod with a handle. If I do submit any more high scores or speed runs on speedrun.com, I'll be able to actually tilt the camera using the handle up. I'll push it up like this to bring the camera down, so you can see me physically put the cart into the console and then turn the CRT on and then begin to speedrun, okay? No more of this fucking bullshit clipping certain cuts, match cuts from certain live streams and Twitch streams and playing it on your gaming PC and all the rest of it. That shit is sketchy. Okay, if you're one of those out there that are doing that, it does not matter what you think you've accomplished. All of your speedruns or all of your high scores have a huge asterisk next to it, okay? Nothing that you have done is legitimate. Nothing that you have done holds any credibility, okay? In the court of law, that shit would be thrown right out, okay? So that's why when you look at, speedrun.com, it's being ran by a bunch of idiots. You got people like who are moderating the games. Can you really trust that guy? Absolutely not. The guy's a pathological liar. Now, if you go over to the other high scores speedrunning website that is out there, Twin Galaxies, that seems to be more legit from what I'm reading. I'll have to dabble into it. I may sign up over the next couple of weeks and check it out. But it seems like it's more credible. So that's all I wanted to sort of talk about with regards to chasing high scores and speedrunning. You got to use OG hardware, folks. You can't be using emulation. Okay, you can't be playing these games on your fucking laptop. Okay, that's not legit. That is not legit. Okay, you are basically, you're a triathlon athlete on steroids. Okay, you are Lance Armstrong on EPO when you're doing that shit on your laptop. Okay, so knock it off. Oh my god. So, yeah, what else is there to talk about? There was something else that I did want to talk about. I just can't remember what it was. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. I had something else I wanted to fucking talk about. I don't know. It'll come to me. But, I've been watching a lot of old school wrestling. I've been on a bit of a Goldust kick. Been watching a lot of his old promos and interactions with Booker T and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Man, he's a hell of a wrestler. He was a hell of a wrestler. He had an incredible career. Started in 1988 at the age of 18. And he's still wrestling even today. He's in great shape. He's wrestling in AEW. So my hat's off to Goldust. He may not have created that character. Vince McMahon gave that to him. But Dustin Rhodes definitely took that opportunity and ran with it. He did a hell of a job with Goldust. Remember the name. Oh yeah, so the last thing I wanted to talk about. So this is a true story. So a female, somebody that I have known since high school and I still talk to on a regular basis. She was in a long-term relationship with somebody that she had known since college. And at one point, I don't think she was married to him, but they had moved in, they bought a house, the whole shebang. So they were pretty much married. It didn't work out. They went their separate ways. This was years ago. And then she ended up hooking up with some other guy. And this, again, was like years ago. This was like fucking 8, 9, 10 years ago. And I remember the few times that I interacted with her and her husband, he seemed fucking miserable. Like, he didn't want to be in the situation he was in. He was in an unhappy marriage. He got wrapped up in the whole fucking... You know how it is. They bought a house. They had 2 dogs. No kids. But they had all the rest of it going on. And so, yeah, I sort of, like, lost touch with them. I was busy with my own shit. And then I sort of reconnected with her over the last couple of years. I want to say the last 2 years. And when I reconvened with her, she had told me that she had just gotten divorced from her husband. And we talked about it. And she was telling me, she's like, yeah, like the spark just wasn't there. I feel like he wasn't attracted to me anymore. He didn't want to have sex. And all he did was stay in his room and play his PlayStation 4. Aha! So I said to her, I said, so he was just in his room all day playing video games. Is that what he was doing? And she said, yeah, well, he would work all day, but when he'd come home, he'd be gaming in his room. He would sort of half close the door, and he would just sort of sit there and play his video games. And I told her, I said, do you think that was part of the issue? And she said to me, she's like, I'm not quite sure. She's like, I didn't really think about it until after we broke up and went our separate ways. But she's like, yeah. She's like, it did piss me off. He would ignore me and he would just sit in his bedroom and play video games. So there's a lot to unpack here. You got some guy that's unhappy with his marriage and he's trying to avoid his wife and he's in his bedroom playing his PlayStation 4. That is a red flag. He didn't want to have sex with her. That was sort of the beginning of the end, right? He shouldn't have been doing that. He should have been in the living room trying to have a conversation with her to figure out what was wrong. But you got to ask yourself, was the PlayStation 4 the catalyst for what occurred? You know, did it play a huge factor in why he no longer wanted to associate with his wife? I don't know. But it sure as hell is fucking unhealthy. You know, it is pretty unhealthy. I sometimes think to myself, if I was married, would I be gaming? I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I would, you know, especially if it was the right person. You know, especially if like a Reese Witherspoon or a Brandy Love walked into my life. I don't think I would be gaming. I think this shit would be gone. I'd have to get rid of it. You got your two options. You either keep the car. In my case, I've got the W204 Mercedes, or the video games. I think I'd keep the car and get rid of the video games. But yeah, it's not healthy. You know, if you're in a situation like that where you're closing the door and you're playing your video games and you're ignoring your family or you're ignoring your significant other, that's not good. And she was telling me like he would never go outside. They would never go for walks. They would never go on vacation. He'd come home from work. He wouldn't take her out for dinner. Very antisocial, very much a recluse. And he would sit in his bedroom all night playing his PlayStation 4. Got to the point where they weren't even sleeping in the same bed. So, yeah, it's just something to be mindful of. Again, a little bit of a CG therapy session. I don't have all the answers, obviously. I'm just presenting to you guys a real-life instance of somebody that actually, I'm not making it up, somebody that actually had this conversation with me. I didn't know anything about the PlayStation 4 that her husband was playing. It just came up during the conversation. And, yeah, it was kind of a sort of a, you know, a warning bell went off in my head. Not for me personally, but just, you know, well, you know, you just want to be careful. You want to be careful. If you're in a relationship and you want it to last and you feel like things are not going the way they should, you should try to at least correct things, okay? Not try to make it worse. So, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just telling you guys what she told me, and I wanted to share it with you. Maybe you guys are in the same situation. Maybe you're not. Maybe you know somebody that is in the same situation. I don't know. But that's it. I'll cut it off here. We're at the 14-minute mark. I promise you my next video should be a review of Far Cry 6. Not 5, 6. I'm almost done it. I'm right at the end. Just taking my sweet ass time with it. Oh, and Daymare, Sandcastle, 1998. Apparently a demo for that for the PC was released today. But the game, I misspoke on my last video talking about it. It's now been officially announced. I believe the date is August 30th. So, yeah, I am really excited for that. I am really, really excited. I kind of want to get the collector's edition. It's limited to 5,000. But it's only $10 more than the vanilla game. But then, again, I don't have a lot of room in here to be collecting collectibles, so to speak. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I got a $100 gift card I have to use. So I may pick that game up. And, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I was outside today cutting the grass. That took about 2 hours of my time. Then I was notified from somebody who lives on my street. Somebody had passed away, a neighbor. So, you know, cancer. The woman wasn't very old either. So, You guys just have to, touch grass and be thankful for every day that you're alive, because you don't know if there will be another day. And for God's sakes, guys, make sure you get outside once in a while and enjoy that weather. Enjoy that beautiful weather. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. Take care.